Hey everyone, my name is Spencer Bauke and welcome to week 20 of Workout Wednesday Power BI Edition. This month we are tackling DAX challenges, and this week we are creating tables using DAX. So if you're familiar creating measures and calculated columns with DAX, well guess what? It gets even cooler. We're going to be creating some tables with DAX. So let's look at our DAX challenge. This week I did use the infamous Superstore data set, only the orders table. If you are importing that model, I think there are 3 data tables that come along. I'm just using the orders table for this example. That should suffice. So we can see our report here that we're trying to build. Trying to build a report that shows percent of sales by region, percent of yearly sales broken out by region. So what regions made up what percent of each year. And then what we want to do is we want to specify one year, it's 2019, and then we want to find the percentage of each category that make up each region just for one specific year. So you can see the example here. And now we can look at the requirements. You can see that you can go and retrieve the data from said link, and then you can come down here and you can see the actual requirements. So summarizing by region, creating sales, you can read through these and you can see that we are creating 3 different tables that will translate into these 3 different charts. So let's get right to it. So I have imported the Power BI, not Power BI, the data set into Power BI so that we can start creating some of our solutions. So let's start off by introducing how to create new tables in Power BI using DAX if you've never done that. So if you go here to your data model, or to your data view, not data model view, your data view, you see that there is a new table. Well, this also uses DAX, just like if we click this new measure, creates a measure with DAX. If we create this new column, it uses DAX to create that, and it also will create a new table using DAX. So what we're going to do here is we are going to click new table, and we are going to see, just like if we were to create a new measure, that it pops up right here, table 1, ready for us to put in our commands to create this table. So this first table that we're going to create is going to be orders by region. So the function that we're going to utilize the most here is the summarize function. So what we're going to do is we're going to summarize this table, right? We're summarizing the orders table. And if you're not familiar with this command, it's much like a group by in SQL, where you're grouping by certain fields and then defining your aggregations of the fields that can be aggregated. So with my summarize, I'm going to summarize the orders table, and then I am going to group by. That is the first command here in the syntax after table, and I'm going to choose my region. So I'm grouping by my region, and now per our requirements, I need to sum my sales to get my sales by region. And so I want to actually stop here and show everyone what we would get if we just stopped right here. We would just get a region and the sum of sales for said region. Well, we want to get the percent of total. So what we're going to do is we actually are going to calculate a field called total sales. And what total sales is going to be is it's actually going to utilize the calculate function, summing my sales, setting my context as all orders in the data set, no matter what filters are applied. If you're not familiar with the all function, definitely check it out. But no matter what I break it out by, it's going to show the same value for every row here. So now what I can do is I can pretty easily calculate my percent of sales. And the reason I can do that is I already have my numerator and denominator already calculated. So I know that this is going to be my numerator, and I know that this value right here is going to be my denominator. So now, come in here, click my check mark, and now I have my percent of sales. There we go. So we can actually go ahead and create our first table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually insert an image, or a shape first. I'm going to use one of these triangles. If you're not sure how I did the one in the example, I can rotate 90 degrees. I'm going to put that up in the corner. Can it go like this? I want it to be blue. I want it to be more gray. Turn that outline off. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little text box in here that says what we're up to. So I'm going to say, wow, 2021, week 20, solution was DAX Tables. I was writing kind of blind there because this was covering over it, but here we go. So I can make that much larger, probably even larger. Exclamation mark for the emphasis. Turn the background off. And there we go. All right. Actually, I might want to give that a little breathing room here. Maybe not just put it up in the top left. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Okay. So now we can go ahead and we can create this first chart. So this is just going to be region by percent of sales. So I'm going to come here. Drop that to axis. I'm going to drop this to values. I am going to drop this to legend to color my percent differently. I'm going to turn on my data labels. I don't want them there. I want them on the outside. I can do the end. Yeah, we'll do the end. Sure. Well, we'll just do the end there. Let's see. Okay. Actually, I want total. I want total. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, not data labels. I want total labels. There we go. Okay, so those are sitting on the outside. Perfect. Okay, so now my next requirement, if we go in and look at it, is we're going to break this out by years. So percent of each region by each year. So this gets a little bit trickier, but let me show you how I'm going to handle this. I'm actually going to take a lot of the same functionality from the last one that we just did because they're going to be very similar, right? They're not going to be the same, but they are going to be fairly similar, and they're going to use some of the same syntax. So I'm going to just copy and paste my old ones, and now I'm going to come in and create a new table that are now going to be my orders by region and year. So I'm still going to summarize my orders. I'm still going to grab my region. But now what I'm also going to do, oops, sorry, I just created that table. I hit enter instead of shift enter. Is I did grab my year of year order date in the model. That is a field I added. And so I'm going to grab that year and group by. Now if I come here, do the same sort of thing. I'm going to click check mark. And now what you'll see is for all the years that we have, the percent of total sales, and in this case it's not by region, this is by region and year combination. So it's kind of a, each percentage is most likely going to be pretty small because you're talking 4 regions and 4 years. So let's just format this appropriately so we can see it just a little bit better. All right, sweet. Yep, that would be about what we expect, right? So now in order to get the percent of yearly sales, what we're going to want to do is we are actually going to create another row here, and we are going to create a value that is percent of yearly sales, and we are actually going to use oops, I forgot quotes. We're actually going to divide. We have our numerator still, has not changed. And then our denominator is actually going to be something slightly different. So what we're going to do is we're still going to calculate some of our sales. But what we're going to do now is we actually want that year to filter our orders table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that the all except in our calculate function. And when I come here, what's going to happen is this is actually going to let that year act as a filter, and it's going to calculate based on the region for each year. So you can see here, and I'll show you in just one moment what I mean. But if we come here, I show you each year broken out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to steal this previous one. Little Control C, Control V. Love that about Power BI. And what I'm going to do is I am then going to put my region here, region, and then my percent of, oh, sorry, this is, let's see here, region. Oh, excuse me, this is going to be my year order here. And then there's my region. There we go. And that's from the other table. So one moment, replace that. Region, and then my percent of yearly sales. Doesn't seem to be operating correctly. Year order date. Region. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I know why. This is right. This is calculated percent of the total, just the way I have it split out, as it looks a little bit more like this. And then we could get some, get some total labels on here. Let's see. No, it's fine. We don't actually necessarily need them, but I would like them to show. I'm trying to figure out why they're not showing here really quickly. Data labels. Oh, okay. There we go, because they're shown on the inside. Okay, that works. And I'll make it a little smaller. Cool. So I'll just bring that down a little bit more so it's a little more legible. Sweet. So now we have broken out. What this is showing is this is the percent of each year that each region makes up, right? So essentially in 2017, the central region made up 21% of sales, east made up 26, south made 21, and west made up 30. So that's what that's telling you right there. So now, lastly, what we want to do is we want to find the same kind of query for the category and only year 2019. So again, this is going to look kind of similar. So I'm going to create a new table. And so I'm just going to copy in what I had, right? And so now this is going to be region and year in category, because now I'm actually going to add in here, I'm going to add in my category for what I'm grouping by. And then what I'm going to do is in my all except here, what I'm actually, excuse me, here in my summarize function, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to filter I'm actually going to filter my orders table. So when you have that when you're asked to state that table, right, you can also apply some sort of filter to this table. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my order year equals 2019. I'm going to let that compute. Let's see. Don't like that. I have to format these every time I am making a new table, so I understand why. Let's see here. Okay, so you can actually see my percentage of sales here is still calculating for everything, because even though we have a filter here, this all, right, and this all orders is going to nullify this filter. So this is still calculating for all category, year, region combinations, which is interesting. I guess we can still have that because that's not like that's not going to be our in our final calculation. So we'll just leave it like that for right now. We'll just ignore that. So what we are going to do, however, is we are going to need to calculate this. Let's see. Yeah, this should also be, we're going to have to, we might need to filter this down. Oh, we're doing this backwards. Let's go filter. Let's go all accept. Oops. Orders. And then let's say our region, right? Because that's actually what we want the region to be able to filter in this case. And then actually we are going to filter this down, now that I think about it, into equals 2019 as well. Now this should change this calculation here for yearly percent of sales. Yeah, exactly. So what I just did, right, is now I am letting the region break this out now. So I did all except region, but then I also specified that I just want the sum of sales to be all except region where my order equals 2019. So now I have things that make a whole heck of a lot more sense here in terms of my return of value. So now what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go and I'm going to create another stack bar here. Not stack bar, excuse me. Actually, what was the name of this? Clustered bar chart. Interesting name. So now I'm going to come here and I am going to first put on my region for the axes. I'm going to put my category, well, actually, we'll do that next. We'll do percent of, I don't think that is named right. I don't think that should be percent of yearly sales. I actually think that should be percent. This is actually percent of region sales. I just named that improperly because we're trying to break this out by region. So we'll go back to a report view. And so, yeah, that field doesn't exist anymore. So let's go percent of region view. And let's break this out by category. All right, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Let's put on some data labels. Ooh, we need to make sure that we're formatted properly so that the data labels show in their proper format. Just show here. Boom, they are formatted. Awesome. So here you go. So this is how we did it. This is how we did it. This is how you create tables with DAX. This is how you summarize and use that all except filter functions to get that exact data that you want. This is a really cool feature of Power BI. I enjoy using this a lot when I'm trying to make sure and make sense of different problems I'm seeing with clients in terms of validation, making sure that, when I'm thinking about how I'm grouping a table or aggregating a table, that it makes sense. And so I use this summarize function a lot, kind of sanity check some of the things I'm doing. So that's it for this week, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope this helped, and we hope to see you next week uh, in Workout Wednesday Power BI edition. Have a great next week. Bye.